Back for round number 2. It is Creed 3 Countdown. My name is Alex. With me is Jack, who for some reason isn't on screen.
Hi.
Hey. Ko's
We
not
didn't
here.
start. We didn't start on screen last time, did we?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
Ko's not here. Coward. Ko's not here because last time we were like really brutal to a movie that apparently is intrinsic to his personality. And while I think that is really tragic, I think it's important to remember there's an internet show about movies. I'm not saying that movies aren't intrinsic to our personality. I'm ready to fight if someone says they don't like Ex Machina. I really am. Like, you don't like Star Wars? Let's fucking have it. But it's also important to remember that a lot of times I'm joking. I wasn't joking when I was shit talking Rocky. To be clear, I wasn't joking when I was shit talking Rocky. We're all friends here. So if Koho really was offended, I will just say. So yeah, this is the Rocky 2 episode of Creed 3 Countdown. The follow-up to a movie that didn't really need one. Didn't really. Rocky is an almost complete narrative. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I wish we had followed up on, like the gangster stuff.
Everything. A lot of loose ends at the end of the first
some loose ends, but like nothing that really, you didn't really need to come back to do any of it. Rocky could have just been a movie that we're all like, yeah. It won Best Picture, and then it made a gigaton of money. So they were like, another one. This one was directed by Sylvester Stallone, the man himself. And I mean, let's get into it really quickly. Just a much better project. Like just a much better product.
Koho would disagree, but he's not here.
He's not here. So we won't in fact know what he's talking about at all. I think this is just like a cleaner movie. I think in a lot of ways, Sylvester Stallone is just a better director. He seems to have like a better handle on what the action is supposed to look like. He's an actor, he thinks. So he like no, that's fucked up. He's an actor, he thinks. I said it again. I'll just do the joke again. He's an actor, he thinks. So he like makes it he makes it like a little. He makes it like an actual, like a good, strong character movie for this Rocky, and actually gets into some of the like kind of gross things about being a professional fighter and what happens to them when they're done fighting. Because if you ever look up, not the famous fighters, because famous fighters, a lot of them do end up broke, but they stay in the spotlight long enough to like get their money back, lose it, get their money back, lose it. A lot of them stick around. But most of them end up just working somewhere. They end up
where Rocky ends up.
Yeah, they end up in, they end up working security. They end up with like fairly physical jobs, physical to the point where, I mean, their bodies can take like, fighting obviously tears your body apart. This is a real downer episode, but like that's what Rocky 2 is about. Kind of is just what happens to Rocky after he hits a payday. He cashes out immediately. He spends all of his money on stuff that he does not need, and he has to give almost all of it back right away. It's a real downer movie, and what can I say? We really liked it. We really liked it. I don't know. What do you want from me? I don't know how. I don't know. It just works better. The premise for me is more reasonable. Just based on what I know about fighter, it just is more reasonable, the narrative. So it's just much easier for me to buy the story of Rocky 2 to Rocky 1. Jack, you can throw my rating up on the board right now. I think this is like a pretty darn good movie. I would probably not like rewatch it, but just because it's a downer, it's like a real downer movie. And
especially in the first act. Like the first act is a downer.
Yeah, it's a real downer. The first act begins immediately after the fight with Apollo. They go to the hospital because this is what you do after you go a grueling full championship fight, you usually go to the hospital. They are fucked up. Both of them are. They're both incredibly fucked up. But Rocky has made. I'm trying to remember what the amount was. We saw it a while ago. It was like 150,000. I think was his show money.
Something like that.
Which that's a pretty good payday, but it's not enough to live on for the rest of your life. If you're like I mean that's an amount. It's probably more in 79, 78, but like that's not enough to be done with. Probably, It definitely isn't now. But
especially since he buys a house, he buys a car, he spends
he buys the house, the car, he gets married. Weddings are expensive. Like a lot of that money's gone in like 30 minutes, really. Hospital bills. He has to pay his trainers. Like a lot of that money is just gone, and by the end of it, he has to get like a day job. And that's like really sad because people know him. He doesn't like leave town. He doesn't go to live in Florida or whatever. He just has to like, he just stays in.
Hell, he doesn't even drive a couple hours and live in Pittsburgh. He just stays in Philadelphia.
He just stays. He works with people he knows. He's fired a couple times. And then eventually he does what a lot of fighters have to do, even as they age. They just have to start fighting again, even though it's a bad idea. This is like it's a kind of a tough sit. And I think making it uncomfortable actually makes it better because you buy into like some realism with it. And I really appreciated that. Just eventually there are no more options for an aging fighter. There's only like one thing that he's good at that like is a reasonable option for him. And that's getting back into the ring and having another fight with his, now what they marketed now as an arch rival. And yeah, I think it's like just a really good movie.
And the thing that gets him to go back into the ring is like equally depressing as everything else happening is Apollo Creed going on TV and just tearing down Rocky's character until he basically just agrees to go like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll fight you again.
Yeah, it's not even like a virtuous thing that anybody's doing. Like it's I don't think even Rocky would see like the fight, like to fight is like virtuous. It's just like, oh God, all right, fine, I'll do it. It's not heroic to be fighting any more than it is heroic to have called out this guy that's done, like he's done fighting. Like you beat him the first time, probably. But Apollo can't get it out of his head, and people are taunting him with this like, close fight he had with a random guy. So it's like
mail saying the fight was fixed and how he lost that fight, and
it's an ego trip for Apollo and a like Rocky gets like it's like an inverse ego trip for Rocky, who like now has to like figure out how to beat this guy after he failed to do it the first time. He has to like figure out, okay, how do I do this when I'm too slow for him, I can't see out of one eye, I can't fight in my traditional stance. Like it's like a whole thing. And it really is. And I know people really like Rocky, and that's fine. I think this is just like a better made, more thoughtful film about the stuff that it's about. That is my opinion. I just think this is an improvement on something that had potential. I think this is an improvement.
Yes. We'll go over to my rating now. And Alex, I just want to say I 100% agree with you on everything you said. I think this is absolutely an improvement. To be fair, I like the Fallout storyline more than the getting to the big fight storyline more personally. I prefer the like to see what the consequences of everything that he did to get there were. I think they improve Rocky and Adrian's romance in this movie. It's way better, way more believable. It's still a little rough.
You know what it is? It's way less Pauly. It's way less Pauly.
Way less Pauly. That's for
Oh
sure.
my
And I'll tell you this much. Pauly can go suck an egg because, my goodness, every time he's on screen, I want to bash my head into a wall. But the writing is much improved in this. Cinematography is more or less the same. I prefer Stallone's direction in comparison to Alvinson. I can't remember his name. I think that was it. Avildsen, something like that. I prefer his direction. I think he's a very talented director, which is something I never expected I'd say about Sylvester Stallone, because I never thought he was like the greatest actor ever. I wasn't sure how he would fare as a director, but he did fairly well in this, actually. The fights were a lot better done, like you were saying earlier. You covered a lot of what I wanted to say. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Apollo Creed, so much better in the movie.
What
Carl Weathers can do no wrong. He is fantastic in everything he's in, and this is no exception. He's better in this than he is in the first one, and that's saying something. With that in mind, our combined rating, average rating for this is a 3.8 out of 5, a full star higher than Rocky 2's average rating was. So yeah, there's that. I guess we've already started talking about it. Let's get into the villain. How does Apollo Creed rank or as a villain to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's again, in the first one, he was just operating out of like, this will be funny. You know what I mean? Like, I'll fight this random guy. We'll both get paid. It'll be aces. But now he's like operating out of like insecurity, out of like he's on like this like downward slope of like being like and not to be like, he's aging too. Like, he's the best fighter in the world, and part of that is like you only really get like so many years with that, and any crack in it is like a huge problem. If you like, I've seen this a couple of times where like you have a close fight or you're knocked down in a fight and people think, oh, he's starting to go, this is it, he's washed or whatever. And like that's for someone that report like he has kids, like he has kids in school, and they like the kids know that like, oh, that's your dad. For people, for someone that like is obviously like a very public media personality, that's a huge problem. Like, people will stop him, news crews will stop him and be like, so yeah, had that really close fight with this random guy who is now not fighting, like, who do you want? Yeah, what do you think? And obviously he wants it, like he wants that perception gone, and the best way to do it is to go back, and the best way to get a fight going is to goad someone into it. That's just true in and out of the ring. If you want, like, there it's Sunday, the day that we record this, there's gonna be a bar fight tonight. Like, somewhere at, on this continent, someone's gonna get fucked up tonight, just on the assumption of like, oh, that guy called me out. And that's, whether it's true or if it isn't, like, put that in like one of the most athletic people on the planet, which is what Apollo is, like the best fighter in the world, at least in the division. Like, that's gonna really fuck with his head. And so just expressing as much of that, and again, he's not in it a lot, is the thing. He doesn't, most of the movie, a lot of it is still spent with Rocky
and Adrian.
Cutting out the actual fight scenes. Apollo's not like, what do you think, 10 minutes? Like, we get 10 minutes with him.
You get the scene in the hospital, the scene where he's reading hate mail, TV, TV manager, and like
stuff in the montage, maybe
promoting the fight, the back and forth.
It's a lot of personality for
such a small role.
15 minutes of movie. Like, it's actually I want to track this as we go on, but like I feel like I've seen enough of Rocky 4 be like, there's a lot of Drago in this. Like there's a lot of Drago in this, and Apollo doesn't really need that. He's got this just really wonderful energy, that is such a fun counterbalance to like the almost like incredibly like the like super humble energy that Stallone brings. Because we were talking about it. I don't remember if this made last week or if this was just a thing for that we came up for Rocky 2, but like there's like 3 different kinds of fighters, right? There's and just for the purpose of this show, there's fighters that are like Rocky, like they'd be as happy like in the ring as they would be like holding someone's spit bucket. And like for example, Rocky's like, I'll get a job. Like, I'm done fighting, I'll get a job. Like, he's perfectly comfortable with that. He knows that I probably can't get a desk job or whatever, but I'd like to. If I can't do that, well, then I'll get a manual labor job. That's fine. There's no shame in that. There isn't. There's Apollos that are like very flashy showman, like showmanship fighters, people that are gonna like, you know, very gregarious personalities that are also really, really good at kicking your dicks in. And then there's a third kind of fighter, which we're going to cover, I think, next week or the week after, which is the kind of people that you look at and you go, that dude's killed people. That dude is a murderer. That dude shouldn't be out
week
here with
after.
us. When you think of like Drago, you go, that dude, that's a murderer. That guy shouldn't be, this shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, they all contrast each other so interestingly. And I really like Apollo.
Yeah. So with that in mind, do you agree with me when I say he should be above him in the first one?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think he should be better.
Perfect. So then with that in mind, our new ranking, Apollo Creed over Apollo Creed, but he's better in the second one. So there's that. What else do we have to do here? Training montages. I don't know if there's a lot to say in terms of the training montages in these films, apart from they're a lot of fun to watch. It's really cool to see Rocky prep for these fights. I don't know which one I prefer because it's really cool when he's running through the city with like the trail of small children running with him. And when he gets to the top of the stairs and they're all jumping and dancing with him, like that's a great moment. I
think traditionally,
one.
I mean, like I think okay, this is almost one of the things that I preferred from the first one. Although I will say it is not uncommon for like a Rocky, for like the Rocky 2 montage is almost more realistic.
Yeah.
It's like, again, like Rocky is now one of the most famous people in the city. People know he's training for a fight. They'd be on the lookout. He probably runs the same route every day. People would know where he is, right? The first one, he's like alone the entire. He's so isolated, which is like
there's no one out in the streets at all.
Yeah, there's no one out.
Like,
no one's supporting
empty.
him. No one is supporting him. No one's out with him. He has like one guy or two guys when he's like in the gym proper, but like he's not. Like, I almost prefer that montage, if only for like just it's more cinematic. But the second one is more real. Like whichever one you prefer is fine, but like the second one is more realistic, whereas the first one is more like, oh, that's crazy. Like, oh, look at that. More like eye-catching, more striking to me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and there's not, I don't even know that it's like much better if it's even like this, that much far ahead, but like there's just two different ways to do it. They had to do it. Like, they had to do another montage because like that was one of the parts that tested the best. But like, yeah, I don't know, whichever one you prefer. feel like I've talked myself into it. I would prefer the first one, but you know, it doesn't really matter to me.
That's
I
fair.
don't know.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the first one is probably the better one. So I'm fine with putting it at number one for this. And just wait till we get Rocky beating the shit out of some communist trees in Rocky 4. That'll be fun to talk about in the training montage.
Communist trees.
Yeah. Take that, Ruski trees. I don't know. I saw the Honest trailer
like
of the film.
I don't like that. I will just, okay. The final fight for this is so much better than the fight in Rocky. It's so much better.
I agree.
Yeah, and not even just like, I mean, cinema. It's shot better. I think Sylvester Stallone is a much bigger fan of boxing. He like understands the movement of it better as the person that was doing it. I think he like understood like, now we need to do that again, or he was just able to like bring a different perspective to it, make it look as dynamic as it could have been from his perspective. Also the moves this is one of the things that really bugged me about Rocky, is that they like, the fights were put together badly. The fight in Rocky 2 is put together so much better in a way that they don't, and I wish they talked about it in the movie, and they just don't. But like switching to orthodox is like so much of a stronger move than playing it in from southpaw. They don't tell you why they have him do it. They tell you to like, that they're protecting his eye. What they're really doing,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
They tell you that they're protecting his eye. What they're not telling you is that it's easier to get into the clinch from there. And then because Apollo's the taller man, I think, with a longer reach, what they're doing is he's probably going to be underneath. What he's doing is just fucking ripping to the body when he's in there. Just fucking rip. Switching orthodox also means you probably eat way more jabs. Honestly, as the least of Rocky's problems. He could take a punch. That's his pretty much. He has two defining strengths as a fighter, and that is his ability to take a punch, and apparently he hits really, really hard. And they're just really maximizing those by dragging the fight out for as long as they possibly could, to where Rocky could punch him as many times as he could, digging to the body in tight spaces, and just laying traps for him. They never talk about any of this stuff in the movie, and it's kind of frustrating because that's actually like really interesting to like, that's the stuff that's interesting to me about it. But it just makes so much more sense than anything they did in the first one. I
don't have a lot to say.
When we watched it, by the way, I think you could tell that I was way more into it than the first. The first one was just like, I was like laughing. I was like, that's cool.
Well, okay. I have a great picture from the first one that I'll send you. Hold up. There you are, and now I just got to find the picture of you watching the fight. That was when he had that's when he knocked Apollo down for the first time, and it cut to the people in the bar. That's the part
the counter uppercut. Which again, there's places where you can use a counter uppercut, not where they did it. This entire bar cheered. Just to describe it, the entire bar cheers, and I do what is considered the traditional face palm. Yeah, I was just so confused and so like unamused by it that I just kind of gave up. I think that's where I decided that like, this is like a 2-star movie, which I stand by. I really do. Yeah, it just flows better, more technically. Yeah, I don't know. It's just good.
Fair enough. I don't have a lot to say about the fighting, mostly because I don't watch as much combat sports as you. I don't know. Like, if it was hockey, I would have way more to say. That's my sport.
Sure.
But I don't watch all that many combat sports. So,
Right, but
I
like
don't.
if you say like even just to make it a sports, because these are sports movies. Like the we can switch out the sports, right? But like if you lost the first time, you would do something different. Especially if you were covering like certain weaknesses in your game, right? You would try a different strat. You would if you were covering like if you were playing hockey, I don't know enough about hockey to make a comparison. If you were like if you couldn't get down like field, is it still a field? I don't know. Rink
Ice.
down ice. That's not right.
Yeah,
If you couldn't get all the
it's
way.
a hockey rink, but they say ice a lot.
Right. If you weren't as fast, you would like if you weren't as fast as the other team, you would make adjustments for it. You would stay closer to your own goal, right? Or you would stay closer to theirs. And like the event that you needed to do something, you would make adjustments. That's what Rocky 2 is on Rocky's End. But if you won the first time, you're just do that again. Just do that again. That is the whole thing. Apollo is doing Apollo again. He's doing the first fight again, and Rocky is trying not to do the first one again. He's doing something completely different. That is that. If you don't like if them not talking about it is completely fine, and them just saying they're going to do something different because it didn't work the first time, that's fine. That's like more. That's as much as the movie needs you to understand. And I think putting that in the film is good, and then making the extra layer of all the adjustments. For me, that makes it better. But just saying we're not going to do the first one again, that's fine. That's enough for me.
Fair. Right. So do we want to rank the movies then? Because I think we'll have a pretty easy
This
time
is
with
better.
this. Yeah. By quite a bit.
Sorry, Ko. This one just is better.
Yeah. I feel bad for when Coho watches this.
No, but he knows that we had a better time watching it. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I think we had a worse time watching this because we weren't laughing as much. But like, this is the better movie.
Better movie. Yeah. We were laughing our asses off at the first one.
Yeah, we were laughing like the wrong way. Like we were laughing at like, why is there a barber shop octet just out and about on the streets? Like that's so weird. I've been there. That's not what happens.
Take it back.
Yeah, and they're still around.
They're still around.
They're still around. Good for them. Yeah, it's just I'm glad there's not as much Polly. I'm still really worried about Adrian, but like she's coming
less
around.
so now. She was in a coma for a lot of this movie, so like
bless her.
Yeah.
This is gonna. I think this is gonna be one of those performances that I don't like from a series.
Yeah.
But one that like usually they cut out that performance. Like they're like like this like Polly is this series' Jar Jar. Like they're just gonna be gradually moving him off to the
phasing
side.
Him out.
Just like kind of moving him. He can have a scene, but he's just gonna be over here.
All I know about Polly in number 4 is there's a robot involved.
Not excited
in
for that.
Some way, shape, or form, and I am dreading that moment.
I'm not really looking forward to that. Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else we gotta add here?
I don't think so. I mean, last time we did the show went an hour. Last time we were arguing a lot, and then we spent time ripping on you. And then we spent a lot of time doing like the Oscars thing. We spent a lot of time
and Glass Onion and whatever. Also, can we Oscars? Coho isn't here, but we can still.
It's the best thing for us to do.
Cool. I guess next we've got Tom Jones on Picture This. Then immediately after that, or no, before that. I'm an idiot. Well, before that, it'll be Rocky 3 for the
Maybe.
Creed 3 countdown.
I mean, maybe we don't know that for sure.
We agreed on Saturdays, and this one got pushed. But yeah, anyway, and then later is My Fair Lady. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I guess that would also be next, like later would be Rocky 4, but whatever. This doesn't matter. All those shows we'll get to eventually. So I don't think we have an outro this week.
No, I don't think so.
Cool. All right. Well then, see ya.